a lot of people get so eager to find a property that they just jump into one and aren't seeing some of the red flags that are standing in the way, and they may get into a losing situation because of that. So just be aware of that, and go look for the winners. Welcome to Arbitrage to Equity, the show where you'll learn the exact tools, techniques, and action steps that people are using every day to build true passive income that transforms their lives and the lives of their families. I'm your host, Tom Swan. Now let's get down to details. What's up, everybody? It's Tom John Swan here. In this episode, we're going to go over where to find property and how to find the most profitable property in a market. So when you're just getting started out, it can be daunting to try to find what's going to be the best property, where to look, what market to go into. It all depends if you want to go local or you want to go remote. So usually when you're just starting out, I recommend to stay in your local market, kind of learn the business, learn how to get into property in that market. You want to make sure that you're in a cash flowing market. So that's first and foremost. Usually I recommend to stay local because it's something that if something goes wrong with the house as you're learning, you can get out there. You can actually build your team locally. If something falls down and falls back on you, then you can actually go take care of it. So that's the first thing. But where do you actually look for these properties? So the easiest thing, especially under the arbitrage model, remember that we're renting out property. So what you want to do is go to the basic rental sites, Zillow, Redfin. You can even look on Craigslist. You just got to be careful of scammers and, properties that are listed that seem too good to be true. They might be, listed way lower than market rent or something like that. And then the person that you're talking to might be a little bit sketchy in how they're responding to you. So you just want to make sure that you're looking and cross-referencing across different platforms to make sure that house. Sometimes what these guys will do is they'll go and look for properties that are on sale or for sale, I should say, and they will go and mark these for rent, and they'll try to push you into giving them a deposit without meeting at the house, or they act very sketchy. Usually you can read through the detail, read through the way that they're acting, but you just want to make sure that you're meeting with the actual realtor listing the property or the actual landlord or owner of the property in order to make sure that you're getting a correct deal. So that being said, you can look on these websites. You can look at For Rent by Owner also is a great site. So you want to find houses that are for rent in your price point. You want to find out what the market rent is going for, and you also want to research. So we went over in a previous episode, we went over comping properties. That's where you want to research how much money a house is going to make. So finding the properties, you can look on Zillow, Redfin, Craigslist, For Rent by Owner. Start cross-referencing and building your list of houses that are potentials. Figure out what house style you want to go into. Do you want to go for smaller houses or bigger houses? Do you want to go for a whole vacation experience? Or do you want to just keep it cookie cutter? Personally, I like to keep it cookie cutter because it opens my audience. It opens to a broader audience and gives me more opportunity to get bookings into that house. And I stay with regular sized houses, 3 2s, 3 3s, 4 2s, 4 3s. And you just want to make sure that those are giving you the most opportunity for your business. Ultimately, in the beginning, cash flow is king. So you want to make sure that you're getting as much cash flow as possible. So that being said, when you're looking at Zillow, you want to look for houses that are for rent only, obviously not for sale. And you want to go to either the landlord or the real estate agent who's listing that property. And you want to give them a pitch on how you're going to rent that property. So ideally, if they understand what your business model is, they're going to realize that you're actually their ideal tenant. So you're going to be taking care of the house, you're going to be paying the rent on time, and you're going to be taking care of problems as they pop up. Most landlords are going to know that anytime an issue comes up with the house, the tenant's always going to be looking to discuss it with them, or they're going to be turning to the landlord for these problems. So you want to make sure that they're understanding that this is going to be a great setup for them. Ultimately, the best properties are going to be houses that are not in an HOA that fall in a certain price point, and that's going to be determined based on the market. Like, for instance, here in Phoenix, I really don't like to go over houses over the $2,500 per month rent mark, because the expenses start to add up and you start to diminish your profit to the point where ultimately when you're comping, the goal here is you want to have a $2,000 per month profit per house. So what that means is you have to run your comps. You have to check with the different websites, AirDNA, DataRabu, Matchvisor. You want to make sure that those houses comp out, and when they are, and the amount of gross income that's coming in, they're going to generate enough cash flow that you're going to be net profiting about $2,000 or more per month on average over the year. So you have to work the numbers, especially if you're in a seasonal market. For instance, here in Phoenix, it's very seasonal. So in February and March, we make a ton of money. October to January, we make decent money. But because of the summer and the heat in the summer, from June to August, we're just barely breaking even. So on the yearly average, on the balance, on the seasonal average for the year, my profit works out to somewhere around $2,800 to $3,000 per house per month. But that's also because I know how to work the system. I'm making above average profit on my properties, and ultimately I can do very well no matter where I am in the market. So when you're looking, you want to make sure you're running your comps, but you can look on these sites and find winners and definitely land winning properties, and know that ultimately you just need to know your numbers going into it, and you need to know what you're getting into before you go targeting that house. So you can make your stockpile a list of houses, then start working through your comps and figure out which houses and apartments, if you want to go after apartments, figure out apartments and house numbers after you have compiled that list, and then sit down and run your comps. It takes time. You have to spend time on this. Comping and finding properties are kind of like mining for gold. So you want to throw away, like when I go into it, I'm almost looking for properties that I'm trying to find every reason not to take that property. So if I go into it and I can't find enough reasons why not to take that property, then it's a winner. But I go into every situation and I try to dissect it and find reasons not to take that property. And if something flares up and there's a red flag somewhere, I move on from it. But a lot of people get so eager to find a property that they just jump into one and aren't seeing some of the red flags that are standing in the way. And they may get into a losing situation because of that. So just be aware of that, and go look for the winners. But use these strategies. You can use these platforms, Zillow, Redfin, For Rent by Owner. You can even look on Craigslist. Just be super careful of those scammers out there. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye.